Welcome to the Wrestling News and Opinions Breakdown for SmackDown, which was aired May 28th, 2015. It took place 2 days earlier on the 26th at the Mohegan Sun at KC Plaza in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And they open up the show with Dean Ambrose cutting a promo in the ring regarding Raw and how things transpired. They've gotten some heat, at least from the podcast world, about how things went down on Raw, saying it was too Attitude Era like and that there wasn't a full explanation for how Dean Ambrose ended up getting the paddy wagon. And so Ambrose went into a detailed explanation of that night's events, as he was talking about first off when they had the whole thing backstage with him and J&J and Seth Rollins push the cameraman into Dean Ambrose. And actually that cameraman, as it turns out, is Will Ferreira from Ring of Honor Wrestling, which Ring of Honor Wrestling will be airing on Destination America Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock opposite NXT on the WWE Network. So that'll be a lead-in to TNA. It's kind of interesting to see Will Ferreira on Raw. So they showed that clip, and then he was talking about how he got arrested, and he was at the police station, and everything that was going through his mind. And then he got one phone call, and he called his best friend, Roman Reigns. And so then he told Roman to buy him some time. And just then, that's when the YouTube clip came out with Seth Rollins pushing Ferreira, the cameraman, into Dean Ambrose. And so then the police let him go. And Dean Ambrose said that he's had a lot of friends on the municipalities over the years, and so they actually gave him an escort and let him ride in the paddy wagon. This totally contradicts Dean Ambrose's character. Dean Ambrose getting along with the cops is like the Batman getting along with the Joker. It doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. That's not his character. His character is the Joker. He is an agent of chaos. He's Dean Anarchy Ambrose, the lunatic fringe. That makes no sense, this explanation. Ambrose delivered it as best he could. He did an excellent job on the mic. I would not fault him whatsoever, but it's just really bad writing. It would have been better if they had just left it in the air. If you can't, at this point it's kind of like, why did you even do it? Why would you do something that then you can't explain other than to come up with an explanation that totally contradicts the very nature of the character? It just doesn't make sense. I guess they're just trying to bury Dean Ambrose with that writing or something. Or just get us ready for the fact that I guess he's not going to win at Elimination Chamber. Because they just destroyed the whole character of Dean Ambrose with that opening. I mean, I guess it's just a minor thing. It doesn't really matter, right? And everybody will just forget in a week. But that was just a low point in Dean Ambrose's character. No fault of his own. Just horrendous writing by WWE. And it was basically because people, said on their podcasts about how it didn't make sense and everything. So then they come out with this explanation. And maybe they got some flack about the whole deal because he came back in the paddy wagon and what was inferred, but hello, that's his character. It's a fiction. If you know what I mean, and then don't do it if you're then gonna come out with some bogus explanation, like I said, that just goes against the character as a whole. It made sense if he would have beat up the cops and then just took the paddy wagon. That would make sense. That would fit Dean Ambrose's character. But for him to be friends with the cops and then friggin' them to let him ride the paddy wagon, I understand where they're put in an awkward position and everything, but that's just not his character. It's just stupid. Hello, it's television. It's not real life. That's kind of the thing. It's why? Because in real life, they gotta be cool with the cops. Obviously, in real life, but it's not real life. It's wrestling. So you're just gonna contradict the character and have no continuity whatsoever. Just because you're afraid of the real life implications of it, then don't do it. Don't put yourself in that position. Anyway, that was how they opened up the show by just totally ruining Dean Ambrose. But whatever. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you think that was a contradiction of Dean Ambrose's character and they just totally mess with the continuity of his character, totally destroy his character. They kind of set up for Roman to make the heel turn and him saying, oh yeah, he's my best friend and stuff, so then it'll be that much more of a turn when Roman turns on him. But Dean Ambrose just, like, I don't even know who Dean Ambrose is anymore after that opening, and like, I understand that they have to do that because they gotta be PC and it's PG, but don't act like, they've been making moves towards, like, back, opening it up, making it not so PG. I mean, Roman Reigns said bitch on the air not that long ago. They've been doing different stuff to, kind of like signal the end of the PG era, but now what is it, the PC era? Is that what it is now? I don't know. They just shouldn't have bothered with doing it then. I thought it was alright, the whole thing, and I thought it fit, like, his character and everything like that, and I didn't mind that it, like, harkened back to the days of Stone Cold, except that then with this explanation, it's just like, don't even bother. Like, I'd rather just, like, just let me figure it out for myself, and let me just, like, make it up in my own mind. At least if you don't explain it to me, I can make the characters make sense in my mind, because you haven't, like, ruined them with bad writing. Just don't say anything then. Let me just imagine it for myself, so that I can imagine that it's better than it is. Why would you do that? Like, it's just so bad. And I like to pretty much put out a positive opinion and have a positive look on wrestling as a whole. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not trying to down it by any means. It just don't make sense, And like I said, I understand that you can't be like, oh yeah, Dean Ambrose beat up the cops. Don't put him in that position. Don't, that whole thing. Now I think that whole thing on Raw was just stupid as hell. If that's how you're gonna explain it away, don't even bother explaining it. Like, anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section. Interested to read your thoughts and opinions. If you think I'm just overreacting, or if it still somehow fits Dean Ambrose's character. Apparently, I just don't even know what that character is. You know what I mean? I thought he was a lunatic fringe. I thought the A, like DA was anarchy, not district attorney. I thought it was Dean Anarchy Ambrose. Why is his shirt the anarchy sign? Thought he's an agent of chaos. I guess he's just the regular dude. He's just, He ain't really shit. Apparently he's nothing what we thought he was. But, and then why is he going around like the way he's going around? He might as well just start dressing back up like the Shield then, if that's what it is. Why is he dressing like this? Why does he have that shirt? Everybody burn your Dean Ambrose shirts, because they don't mean anything. They're freaking meaningless. They're a lie. His whole character's a lie. They just ruined it, but whatever. In the first match of the evening, we had a Lumberjack match, as we had the Lucha Dragons and the Brass Ring Club in some tag team action, and the other 4 teams that are in the Elimination Chamber Tag Team Championship match, May 31st on the WWE Network, were the Lumberjacks. So you had New Day, Los Matadors, the Primetime Players, and the Ascension outside the ring. And this was, a decent match. Anytime you get to see Tyson, Kidd, and Cesaro, it's always a treat. They are 2 of the best performers in the world. They're an excellent tag team. They're the best tag team. I actually like New Day, although I know everybody thinks they suck. I actually think they're better than people give them credit for. And they were getting some good heat in this match, even though they were just Lumberjacks on the outside. The crowd was chanting, New Day sucks. So they didn't even have to get in the ring and they're getting heat. But Tyson, Kidd, and Cesaro, I really hope they get the belts at Elimination Chamber. But as for this match, they're mixing it up with the Lucha Dragons. Lucha Dragons are a pretty good tag team as well. So it's definitely entertaining seeing these 2 teams go at it. And you wonder, why were these 2 teams facing off in this match, being that they're both baby faces? But I guess it's because they're the best 2 workers, as in teams. So the best 4 workers, because, there's 2 guys in each team. Not to say anything light of the other guys' work, but Tyson, Kidd, and Cesaro by far are the best tag team in the division. The Usos, of course, the injury, they're not around right now, but Tyson, Kidd, and Cesaro, they're actually kind of more what brought the resurgence back to the tag team division. They're so excellent in the ring that it rose up the division as a whole and made them have to put an emphasis on the division in the first place, because the tag team division was kind of off to the wayside for quite some time until Tyson Kidd and Cesaro put tag team wrestling back on the map. And now we've seen tag team wrestling, come back in a big way, a real resurgence. It's at a high point that it hasn't seen in a long time. So we do have a lot of good tag teams. But that being said, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro are the best. And in this match, we saw an awesome spot where Cesaro, once again, showing his incredible strength. He was holding up Kalisto with just one arm in the suplex position, as Tyson Kidd then would go up to the top rope and then force Kalisto down into the mat as Cesaro let go of him. And, in the Lucha Dragons, they were, pull off some pretty good spots as well. And then, of course, we had the Lumberjacks outside, and that's how things would end up going down. Is they had gone to commercial, they came back from commercial, and when Cesaro had been in the ring, he was kind of dominating. Kid, he was kind of getting beat up on a little bit, but they ended up where, Kid had Kalisto in the sharpshooter, and then Sin Cara came off the rope. I think he springboarded and he broke up the sharpshooter. So then Cesaro came in, he super kicked Sin Cara, but then Sin Cara ended up, tossing him outside the ring. Kalisto ended up outside the ring though. First, when Cesaro went over, he kind of took out, the Ascension and the Los Matadors. And then you had New Day came over. Well, it was Biggie and Kofi, but on the other side, Xavier Woods was on the other opposite end of the ring. And so then it ended up where, at this point, Kid ended up tossing Sin Cara out, and then Biggie and Kofi were around the other way, and they put Kalisto back in the ring as Xavier Woods was messing with Kid, keeping him distracted. And then once Kalisto got back in there, and then he ended up hitting Tyson Kidd with the Selena del Sol, and then he got the pin for the win. 1, 2, 3, Lucha Dragons win. So I would have rather seen Tyson Kidd and Cesaro win. So they're exponentially better than everybody else in the tag team division. Although, like I said, the tag team division is at a high point. It's a real resurgence. Not to take anything away from the Lucha Dragons or any other of these teams, as I like all of their work, but beyond a shadow of a doubt, far and away, Kid and Cesaro are the best tag team, and I really hope they get the tag team belts back at Elimination Chamber, because they deserve the tag team titles. They're the best. They're the best workers. They're unbelievable in the ring. Their in-ring action is just far and away the best. But the Lucha Dragons got the win. They're not bad performers by any stretch of the imagination either. They're really good too. They're very talented, very athletic. They have some really good in-ring action, and they're getting a pretty good reaction from the crowd as well. But still, the Brass Ring Club is where it's at. And I kind of, like I said, it was kind of weird that they had this match set up with the two faces, although the way it ended up was the heat was still on New Day, because Xavier Woods once again costing Tyson Kidd and Cesaro a match, except this time it wasn't with Biggie and Kofi in the ring against them. It was with the Lucha Dragons, as he helped them out. Interestingly enough, the Lucha Dragons actually had on the same color scheme as the New Day. They were all wearing bright neon green. It makes you wonder, so are they down? Not really, you know what I mean, but that was kind of interesting, more on a superficial note. But anyway, you could see, though, that the heat was definitely directed towards New Day. Like I said, during the match, they were getting a lot of heat from the crowd, and you could see that Cesaro was very angry and looking to get some payback at Elimination Chamber, in that Elimination Chamber match, which should be spectacular, should be amazing. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. I mean, it's maybe the whole thing is a little bit freaking overcrowded with so many, 6 teams and all in there, but it's just going to be crazy. It's the first time ever. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime history-making thing, so it's going to be pretty cool. Definitely must-see, and I can't wait. I just hope that Tyson Kidd and Cesaro come out on top. I know they're going to deliver some memorable moments at the pay-per-view, but they did it. They even right here on SmackDown, they made a memorable moment when he lifted Kalisto up with one arm, and then Kidd smashed him into the mat off the top rope. That was insane. That was awesome. Even, there was a couple other cool spots in here. Tyson Kidd with a springboard. Like I said, the Luchas had a couple nice spots too, but I'm really hoping that they win. I was disappointed that they lost this match, but hopefully it's a sign that they're going to win, even though the Lucha Dragons have some momentum going into Elimination Chamber, picking up this win right here. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. In the second match of the evening, we had some singles action as R-Truth took on King Barrett, and they are 2 of the 6 competitors that are going to be in that Elimination Chamber match for the Intercontinental Championship on May 31st, 2015, exclusively on the WWE Network. And so as they made their ways to the ring, they played promos from each of them regarding the Elimination Chamber match. I thought they were pretty decent promos. I actually enjoy when they do that. I think it's a good idea for them to have promos as the guys make their way down to the ring. It gives us a little bit more in-depth and insight into their character, although we see what they do to the characters, what they did in the opening of the show. But anyway, I thought that was pretty good, an R-Truth promo and a King Barrett promo. I think King Barrett's really coming into his own as the king, as he's a guy that you just love to hate, and he's just so good at being bad. And R-Truth, he's, I think he's actually pretty underrated. He gets a good reaction from the younger crowd, not so much from the older fans, as, they're maybe not, down with his gimmicks so much. But, I think he's actually pretty talented. He's been around quite a while, and he's definitely a veteran of the ring and knows how to get down in the squared circle. So in this match, Barrett was taking it to R-Truth, though. He was dominating in this one. He was just punishing him, just dealing out all the physical pain as he was just freaking hitting him with all kinds of moves. And then he went to end this match as he turned around, the elbow pad, as he was setting up for the bull hammer elbow, but he telegraphed it a little bit too much, and R-Truth ended up rolling him up when he went for the bull hammer. He kicked out of that, and R-Truth Irish whipped him into the corner. He bounced back, but R-Truth hit him with the lie detector, and it was 1, 2, 3. R-Truth gets the win as he gets some momentum heading into that Elimination Chamber match. But then after the match, here comes Sheamus, and he Brogue Kicks R-Truth, and then he Brogue Kicks King Barrett, as there's no love lost there. They might both be heels with Sheamus. He's the heeliest of the heels. And so Sheamus wants that IC belt as he was eyeing it, and then he made his way backstage, leaving behind him a path of destruction via the Brogue Kick. So, it was a pretty quick match. I mean, it's SmackDown, and I thought it was pretty decent. Like I said, King Barrett, he's pretty good in the ring. R-Truth is too. I think he's, like I said, kind of underrated, actually. I don't think people appreciate him as much as they should. But King Barrett, he's definitely awesome in the ring and definitely awesome on the mic. I said, this character of King Barrett, you friggin' can't stand him, and he's so good at being bad and being a heel. So I think they actually did a good job of putting him as the king of the ring. I actually think that was a good thing. And R-Truth getting the win, you never know. Maybe he ends up taking Elimination Chamber. How crazy would that be? It's the last thing I'm expecting, last thing anyone's expecting, but you never know. Anything can happen. And of course, Sheamus coming out there with that Brogue Kick. Sheamus, he actually, what's funny is he's going to be in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I believe he's playing Bebop, and he actually looks like that character. I wonder if that's what inspired the whole Mohawk look, like the whole look he has right now, if that was just inspired from being in the movie. But there's actually a rumor going around that he's going to go off to do movies. I don't know about that, but as for this match, though, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good segment, and the Sheamus coming out there doing that. So I hate Sheamus. I think it's good, though. Him as the heel, it's actually works, because I already didn't like him. I used to like him, but then they ruined Sheamus, just like they ruined Dean Ambrose at the top of tonight. And so then putting him as the heel, that makes sense. Same thing, if they're going to have, like, Dean, it's like, what, they don't know what to do. He's a heel, he's a face, what? Anyway, I thought this match was straight. Let me know what you think in the comments section below about Wade Barrett versus R-Truth. What you think about the match coming up for the IC belt. Is these three guys are going to be in it, as well as Ryback, Rusev, and Dolph Ziggler. So definitely share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. I am interested in reading them. In the third match of the evening, we had Rusev versus Ryback, as these two are two of the men who are going to be in that IC Elimination Chamber match, as we had just seen two of the other opponents in that match out of the 6. So we saw 4 of them in competition. Of course, Sheamus came out and attacked R-Truth and King Barrett. But here we had Rusev versus Ryback, and before the match, they actually were, had a backstage segment with Renee Young interviewing Lana, and she was asking about, with her and Rusev, what happened there on Monday night. Lana said that her emotions got the best of her. She almost took Rusev back. And then Renee Young asked, what is the nature of her relationship with Dolph Ziggler? She said she doesn't have a relationship with Dolph Ziggler. Renee Young said, it looked like you guys are more than just friends. And that's when Rusev showed up. So Rusev confronted Lana, and he said that he's over her. He's not jealous. He doesn't care. He's over it. He beat up Dolph Ziggler, and that when he beat him up, he's just having to pay for what Lana did, and that he really could care less, and that Dolph Ziggler is like a chicken, that he didn't show up to SmackDown because he doesn't want no part of Rusev. That's what Rusev was saying. Basically, that's the gist of it. So Lana actually looked like she was actually, a little bit, upset, I guess would be the word, that Rusev wasn't jealous. So it looked like Lana actually still loves Rusev, and she wants to get back with him, and that she's just trying to make him jealous and make him see the error of his ways, although Rusev does not look like he is about to actually realize the mistake that he has made in the way he's treated Lana. So Rusev went out there to face Ryback, and so they went at it. It was a physical match. I thought it was a pretty good match, actually. It's these two big brutes, just a brawling action. Ryback was getting control early. And like I said, for two big guys, they actually are pretty darn good wrestlers. They're not just physical brawlers. They actually can, wrestle a little bit. More so than the brawlers and the big men of the past, definitely. And Rusev, of course, is a submission expert. So they were going at it. Like I said, Ryback was in control. Of course, he tossed Rusev to the outside. That was somewhat of a mistake, because once they got outside, Rusev then took back control. They ended up going to commercial, and they came back. They're back in the ring. They're going at it. Rusev was more in control. Ryback, it was kind of back and forth. But then they went back outside the ring, and when they went back outside the ring, Rusev maybe seems to kind of like hurt his ankle the first time he had gone out, and even the second time. But he was favoring the ankle, but he just started tossing Ryback over and over into the ring post, at which point the referee called for disqualification. So I guess it was a little bit too excessive. You can throw him in the ring post once, maybe twice, but if you just keep on doing it, then you're going to get DQ'd. And then even after the DQ, Rusev taking out his frustrations on Ryback, tossing him into the steel steps. And you can see Rusev was visibly hurting emotionally and physically, as he definitely is feeling the loss of Lana, and he also was favoring that ankle. So we'll see, where that leaves him heading into Elimination Chamber. As Ryback getting a little beat up here, and Rusev with his ankle looking worse for wear. Looks like this match might have actually hurt their chances of winning the IC belt, as it looks like Sheamus, heading into Elimination Chamber, looks to be the guy with the most momentum right now. Of course, it could be any man could win it out of the 6. It's going to be an awesome match for sure. I definitely can't wait to see that. It's hard to say, who's going to win or who should win. I almost would say they should just put it on Rusev. I know a lot of people, I'm sure you hate Rusev, but he is an excellent performer. He's great as a heel. Also, Ryback as well. I think Ryback's actually pretty good. I know, there's mixed reactions. Some people love him, some people hate him. I actually think, the hate's a little bit unwarranted. I think he's actually been, coming a long way. He's grown leaps and bounds on the mic and in the ring just over the past couple years. I mean, it takes time. It's a tough business. It's a tough sport to actually get down and to be the best in the world. Not to say that they are, but you know what I'm saying. So anyway, I thought it was a pretty good match. You know, it ended in a DQ, but I mean, not every match is going to end in a pin. I think it's actually good to have variation, not always have the same ending, mix it up. A DQ once in a while is a good thing, especially with them heading into Elimination Chamber. So I thought it was pretty good. I thought it progressed things along pretty well, and I'm definitely looking forward to Elimination Chamber. And I'm also interested with, you know, what are going to be the ramifications coming off of this match towards Elimination Chamber. Is Rusev favoring that ankle? Is that going to have an effect on him in the match? Also, Ryback, you know, after the beating that Rusev just put on him in this match, a match that at one point he looked to be in control of, but then by the end of it, he was just laid out after going into the ring post, going into the steel steps. So, how's that going to affect Ryback and his chances at Elimination Chamber? Let me know, though, what you think in the comment section below about this match. What do you think about the backstage interview with Lana and Renee Young, and then what Rusev came out there and what he had to say? I thought it was, you know, very well presented. I thought it moved the story along really good. I think it's a very entertaining story, very believable. You know, it's really hooks you in. It's pretty real. And you know, Lana's doing an excellent job, and so is Rusev with being a jerk. You know what I mean? It's just entertaining to watch for sure. And like I said, I'm definitely enjoying the ride, and I'm interested to see where they take us with this and where it ends up going. Hopefully there's a good payoff, but we'll see. That remains to be seen. Let me know, though, what you think in the comment section below. Like I said, I'm very interested to read your thoughts and opinions. In the third match of the evening, we had, or actually was the fourth, it's the fifth segment, we had the Divas in action, as it was Naomi versus Paige. And of course, Naomi had Tamina with her. And as a custom on SmackDown, they had some promo, you know, a little video vignette as they were making their ring entrances, as Paige was addressing Naomi. I thought it was a pretty good, you know, promo by her, some good mic work. And then they had Naomi and Tamina. And Tamina, she said a lot without saying anything, as Naomi was the one on the mic cutting a promo on Paige. She did a pretty good job at that. And Tamina was pretty good just with her facial expressions and her body language, getting a lot across as well. So I thought this was pretty cool. I thought this was actually one of the better matches of the night. Probably the highlight of the night, really, was this match right here with Paige and Naomi. I think Paige and Naomi are definitely the better competitors. They're going to be in that triple threat match for the Diva Championship, as they'll be taking on the champion, Nikki Bella, at Elimination Chamber. But right here, they had some unsettled business. And of course, they'll be finishing that at Elimination Chamber, and it'll probably even go on past there. But as for SmackDown right here, Paige and Naomi, Paige was in control early on. As sure you all remember, you know, back in London when Naomi took Paige out, and that was something she had addressed in that promo that they played while she was on her way to the ring. But anyway, Paige was in control early on. Of course, then Naomi ended up turning things around when she ended up going outside the ring, and then she smashed Paige into the ring post. And so she was in control for a little bit. She started working over Paige, working over her arm. But then Paige took back control. She got her with a couple kicks. She got her with a super kick. Then she ended up kicking Tamina, and then she ended up hitting Naomi with the Rampage, and it was 1, 2, 3. Paige gets the win. So I thought it was pretty awesome. I thought it was an awesome match. Definitely happy to see Paige get the victory, you know, and get some momentum heading into that triple threat match. Although I hope this isn't a sign that she's not going to win, because I really want Paige to get the Divas Championship. If you ask me, this is her house. That's what she says. She said, this is my house. That's what she says, and she is right, because it is her house. She's grown up in that ring. She's lived there her whole entire life. She is the most talented woman wrestler in the main roster, and she deserves to be champion. Now, you know, with that being said, people say, oh yeah, Nikki deserves the belt. Oh well, I mean, I guess if you don't really have any respect for the Divas title, then yeah, I guess you could have it on Nikki Bella. But I apparently have more respect for that belt than the WWE does, because I would never have put that thing on Nikki Bella, and I would have that belt on Paige for sure. Or Naomi, you know, she's actually been doing really good work in the ring and on the mic. I've actually been very impressed with her mic work, especially, if anything, I'd rather see Naomi with the belt than have Nikki Bella with the belt. And that's what we saw after the match. Paige was stuck kind of between a rock and a hard place as the Bella twins were up at the entrance stage at the top of the ramp, and in the ring there was Tamina and Naomi. So right there, I'll tell you what, that kind of booking is going to definitely make me like Paige even more. I don't know if that's possible because I'm already a huge fan of Paige's. I'm a big fan of Tamina's as well. I like Naomi too, but like going in there against both, Nikki and Tamina, and they both got it out for her, and she's the face, they're the heels. Whether or not you think Nikki's a heel, I mean, I guess that's up to you, but it's interesting, definitely interesting. So I'm hoping that, Paige can take the belt and put it where it belongs, around her waist. As I said, she's the most talented woman wrestler on the main roster, and she definitely deserves to have that title. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about this match. Listen, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a highlight of the show. I definitely enjoyed it immensely. I thought it was a very good match. I mean, it wasn't the longest match, but I thought it was a good length. And I liked the action. I thought it was good all around. I thought they did a really good job. And I liked the result. I was like, oh, yes, I was happy. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yes, that was awesome. She won. She didn't get screwed over. She actually took out Tamina. I thought that was, genius, just like Lawler pointed out. And then, and the other guy was like, oh, I don't know about that. But Lawler's like, oh, no, that was genius. And then she had her with the Rampage. I thought it was awesome. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think about the triple threat match coming up on May 31st on the WWE Network? Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. And at this point, we had Kevin Owens being interviewed in the ring by Michael Cole. So Michael Cole was asking Kevin Owens about his match coming up at Elimination Chamber May 31st, 2015 on the WWE Network. Champion versus champion, the NXT champion versus the United States champion, John Cena. And so Kevin Owens was saying, hey, I am not new to this business. Michael Cole said, you've been in the WWE now for 2 weeks. He said, yeah, but I've been wrestling for 15 years around the world against the top competition and the top talent in professional wrestling. And he said, well, John Cena, he's something different. And he says, I'm well aware of John Cena's numbers, the 15 World Championships, the 2 Royal Rumble victories, the 11 WrestleManias, the 57 terrible shirt designs, and the 1,000 ways to suck. Although, personally, I think John Cena doesn't suck, but that's what Kevin Owens said. So then Michael Cole was asking about, Cena's promo that he cut on Raw just, earlier in the week. He said, well, Cena says that you know how to start a fight, but do you know how to finish a fight? He said, well, let's take a look at the footage from NXT TakeOver Unstoppable in my match with Sami Zayn, and then you tell me if I know how to finish a fight. And they showed the clip of the pop-up powerbomb onto the edge of the ring apron to Sami Zayn. And he said, hey, if I would do that to my best friend, a man that I traveled around the world with for 10 years, someone that is near and dear to my heart, closer to me than any other man, what do you think I'm going to do to John Cena? Just imagine. Well, you won't have to imagine, because you'll be able to tune in on the WWE Network at Elimination Chamber. And so that's what Kevin Owens had to say about that, and about John Cena, and about his match. I thought this was an excellent promo by Kevin Owens. I thought he did a really good job. He said, Cena got something to prove to him. He doesn't have anything to prove to Cena. I thought, he's doing an excellent job building up this match. There's been a lot of time necessarily on WWE programming to build this up, but this is something that's been building up for a decade, about 5 years easy. This match right here is something that people have been calling for a long time, a dream match, as it were, among the internet community. So do they really need to sit there and build it up on the WWE, on Raw and on SmackDown for months on end? I don't think they necessarily do, because I'm pretty hyped up for this match myself. I know I am, and I'm guessing most people are. So I'm definitely excited to see Elimination Chamber, especially this match. I mean, it's going to be a great card all around. But I thought, Owens did an excellent job on the mic. It's going to be one heck of a fight as these two go at it. John Cena is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and going against Kevin Owens, who is one of the top wrestlers right now today. So that should be an interesting match. And he's been, putting in work for a while on the indie scene. Now he's made it up to the big leagues. And, there's the questions of him being on the main roster or not. I actually think that the way it looks like they're having him kind of do double duty, and that he's going to be up on the main roster sooner than later. Especially, you see how he has the gear, the main roster gear. It's not the gear he wears at NXT. He didn't wear that same gear for Unstoppable, but then he wears it again here on SmackDown. So he's got his gear set. Like, they don't just have that, for nothing. Like, they didn't make that Fight Owens Fight shirt for no reason. They didn't make those shorts for no reason, just to have him stay down in NXT. Whether or not they have him kind of just continue to do this crossover thing where it's like he's on both, which actually is pretty smart because it brings more attention to both of them, and it kind of crosses over the fans of both of them. Although there is already a huge crossover, obviously, but there are people who only watch NXT, and there are plenty of people who've never seen NXT who only watch WWE. And so by having Kevin Owens fight John Cena, having Kevin Owens show up on Raw like this, having him go back and forth, kind of doing the double duty between NXT and WWE, it actually is going to just make more subscribers to the network, and it's going to just bring more people to NXT, and also get those NXT people more interested in WWE, people who were kind of maybe soured on the product because it wasn't more like NXT. Now with more NXT talent coming to the main roster, I think that kind of is more inclusive towards all the fans. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know what you think in the comments section below, whether you agree or disagree. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. In the main event of the evening, they had a tag team match between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins and Kane. And earlier in the evening, they had a backstage little video there with Rollins and J&J, and Kane was back there too. And Jamie Noble, I just brought it up because he was awesome on the mic. He was saying some pretty funny stuff. Every time Jamie Noble speaks, I laugh. He's a funny guy. I think it's always good when they got Jamie Noble on the mic. More mic time for Jamie Noble is always a welcome thing, in my opinion. At least that's what I think. I think Jamie Noble, if he was a foot taller, he would be the WWE champion, but life's not fair. But he's got a great mind for wrestling, and he is just excellent on the mic. So more mic time for Jamie Noble, please. So anyway, they had the match, and, it was a tag team match, building up for, the belt defense of Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose for Elimination Chamber. And, they threw in Roman and Kane in there. They're going to be an integral part of that match from the looks of it. So anyway, they're going at it, and to tell you the truth, if you heard already what I said about the opening of this show, then you'll understand. Of course, if you didn't hear that and you're just watching this now, or, if you were watching the whole breakdown of SmackDown, then you'll understand. But if you're just watching this video, maybe go back and check out what I said about the opening. But because of the way the show opened, they totally turned me 180 degrees on Dean Ambrose. I was a Dean Ambrose fan before watching this show, but as soon as I watched the first 5 minutes of this show, I now hate Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose sucks. He's fake. I no longer believe in that character. They exposed the character to be a total contradiction and totally fake. It's not so much, Dean, he himself, what could he do? It's the writing. At the same time, he didn't have to go in the ring and say those words that contradicted his whole character. He should have said, no, I'm not going to say that. That goes against my whole entire character. Why would you ruin my character? Because now I can't stand Dean Ambrose. Now that they exposed him as a contradiction to be fake, now everything I see, everything he does, I see it's just being fake. and I can't stand him. I don't want to see him on TV. Originally, if I had not seen SmackDown, I would have been rooting for him at Elimination Chamber. But because I saw SmackDown, now I'm going for Seth Rollins. Now I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm with Seth Rollins. At least his character makes sense. But really, it should be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. That would be a better match. As this match was, that's when I actually was even interested in it, when it was Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in the ring while Dean was in there. I just wanted to puke. I was like, ugh, he's so freaking disgusting. I can't stand him anymore. And I'm really even mad at myself for being a fan of his, because like, why the hell was I a fan of this piece of crap now that I see that he sucks? He's nothing like his character was supposed to be. They ruined the character. They totally destroyed it. That's all it took, was just one big, huge contradiction in the character, and now it just blows the whole thing, because that takes away all the believability. Now I just see him as this big fake, and that's one of the things, Roddy Piper says on his podcast quite a lot. I forget who it was exactly. I should remember this, and when I listen to it again, he says it again, then I'll write it down and I'll say it back to you, because I'm going to start doing a podcast review every week, because I listen to all these wrestling podcasts and I figure I'm going to start doing a review. But anyway, what Roddy Piper says on his podcast almost every week, he says that one of the old timers, one of the legends whose name escapes me right now, but I believe it was up in Canada even, that's where Roddy Piper's from. One of these legends told him, Roddy's a legend, so this is an ancient legend of wrestling, but what the guy told him, this wrestler who, well, at the time he was a wrestler, now he's an ex-wrestler. I don't even know if the guy's alive anymore, but Roddy's definitely alive and kicking and doing a kick-ass podcast every week, Piper's Pit on Podcast 1. But what Roddy says is that, I can't make you believe wrestling is real, but I can make you believe that I am real. And he said that stuck with him, and that's how he approached the ring every time he would go in it, that you might not believe in wrestling, but you're damn sure gonna believe in Roddy Piper. And that's kind of like how I feel about Ryback. I believe in Ryback that dude's for real. And that dude, I'll tell you what, I would not want to get in a ring with Ryback, because I know that Ryback would kick my ass. But I'll tell you what, I'd get in a ring with Dean Ambrose, and I'll kick Dean Ambrose's ass. Straight up, man, I ain't afraid of that dude. The only thing that made me ever afraid of him, not even, but the only thing that made me believe that he could kick ass was the whole lunatic fringe thing. And then now we see that's fake, that he's really just authority person, that he should be in the authority, instead of Seth. Seth is more of a badass than Dean. That's how he carries himself. That's how his character carries himself. But Dean, he's down with the authority, right? Because at the opening of the show, he's all saying how he's so chummy with the cops. They're his best friends, and he's made lots of friends in the municipalities over the years. So he's undercover, chummy with the pigs, down with the authority, because that's the authority, right? But the authority's the bad guys. But wait, how come he's down with the authority? Totally contradicts his character 100%. His sign, DA, it looks like the anarchy symbol. Oh, but he's down with the cops? Well, then you're fake as fuck, dude. You're a poser. Stop wearing that shirt. Burn your Dean Ambrose shirts, people, because they're fake. He's fake. And then now everything I see, and after they just exposed his character as being fake and being a lie, now everything I see him do is just so freaking, it's a caricature. He's no longer a believable character. He's a caricature of himself, a total poser and a fake. But anyway, so this match, they were doing the thing, and then actually once Roman got in there and it was Roman and Rollins, then that actually was interesting. Roman and Rollins mixing it up. Reigns hit Rollins with a Samoan drop, and then Kane interfered when Reigns was going for the Superman punch, but Ambrose took care of Kane. Reigns then went for the Superman punch, but missed, and Rollins went for a roll-up, but Reigns lifted Rollins up with one arm. I thought that was pretty impressive, feat of strength there. Rollins broke loose, and after taking a punch from Reigns, Rollins hit Reigns with a super kick, and then it looked like he was going to go for a pile driver, but Reigns was able to get out of it, and then he hit Rollins with a Superman punch. after, he kept going for it, he finally got him with it right here. And then he pinned him, and it looked like he was going to win. But then J&J jumped in there. They broke it up. The referee called for the bell, and he gave the match to Reigns and Ambrose, so they won via DQ. But that didn't stop the action by any means. Ambrose came in to take care of J&J. Kane came in. He tossed him outside the ring. Ambrose then punched Rollins. He was beating on him. But Kane called out the New Day, and so the New Day came out to the rescue of the WWE Champion. So the New Day, which I actually was like, yes! That's the thing that's so screwy with this. It's like, how is it that before the show started, I was like, yeah, Dean Ambrose, and I was going to be rooting for him at Elimination Chamber. I was actually like hyped up and hoping that he would win it. Now, the last thing I want to see is Dean Ambrose with that belt. I'm like, no way. I'm like now thinking like, thank God Seth Rollins is probably going to keep it, which I figured he probably would. But I really hope that Seth Rollins beats Dean Ambrose in Elimination Chamber. And when I saw a New Day come out to beat on Ambrose, I was like, yes. I was like, beat up on that punk-ass fake poser. And so they came out there. They started beating on Ambrose. And so then once they came out, Roman Reigns jumped over the top rope. And he ended up taking out everybody except for Ambrose and Xavier Woods. Ambrose was in the ring then. Or Xavier Woods was in the ring. Ambrose came up, and then he ended up hitting him with the dirty deeds. Xavier Woods, that is. And so then Big E hit Ambrose, but Dean bounced off the ropes, and then he hit Langston with the clothesline, which is like, yeah, okay. Big E would demolish Ambrose. And then Kofi jumped off the top rope, and then Roman Reigns hit him with the Superman punch in midair. It was vicious. That was sick. I was like, oh, damn. I was like, what? That looked pretty sick. So anyway, then at that point, Reigns ended up hitting Big E with the spear. Then Kane ended up coming in the ring, and he grabbed Reigns and he chokeslammed him. And then Ambrose attacked Kane, but Rollins came up behind him. And then the two started beating on Ambrose. And then Seth Rollins nailed Dean Ambrose with the pedigree. And it was awesome. And I was like, yes, Seth is the man. Dean Ambrose is a fake poser. And Seth Rollins is a bad mofo. And I'm glad that he's the champion. That's why he's the future. That's why they picked him, because he is the man. They knew what they were doing. They knew Seth Rollins is awesome. That's why, even I'll tell you, before he made the turn, like, at first, I was kind of, like, not so big on Seth, but then he won me over. It's the more I was seeing him, like, in the matches, just kick so much ass and do so much awesome things, because he is very talented in the ring. I was like, man, Seth Rollins is the best member of the Shield. And originally, I was, like, more thinking it was Roman, as the Shield was, like, dominating wrestling there for a while. But then near the end of the run, I was like, you know what, it's really Seth is the man. And then they ended up making the turn, and then he ended up going over with the Authority and everything, not too long after that. But anyway, this match, actually, the way it ended up turning out was pretty cool. I was kind of, like, having trouble even watching it, because I just can't stand Dean Ambrose anymore. But I was like, I'm going to watch it, anyway. I'm going to force myself through this thing. And it actually had a nice payoff at the end. I was like, you know what, I'm glad I actually watched that. Because I get to see New Day beat on Ambrose and then see Rollins nail him with that pedigree, which was pretty awesome. So I was actually pretty happy at that point. Even though it's weird, it's, because, like I said, if you go back, watch any of my videos, you'll see I'm talking up Dean Ambrose, like, big time. Talking him up. I'm like, yeah, he's awesome. Because I totally got the character. I thought the character was awesome. Dean Ambrose was doing a whole thing like he's Heath Ledger, Joker in Dark Knight. That's his character. That's what he's doing. And then on Raw, they ruined it. And it wasn't even so much that they ruined it. What ruined it was the explanation that they had Dean Ambrose give on the opening of this show. That just totally ruined Dean Ambrose's character, totally contradicted it, and exposed him as a fake and a phony and a fraud, and made me no longer believe in Dean Ambrose whatsoever. They said, why is he even wearing that shirt? Why is he wearing jeans? Go back to the Shield gear, you freaking cop, you friggin' Authority member. Ugh, you undercover fake poser. All acting like, yeah, I'm all anarchy and I'm crazy like the Joker, but I'm really not because I'm down with the cops. It's like, look, I'm not saying anything against the cops or nothing like that by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying that that's the character, man. and I'm watching the story, I want to be entertained, and I want it to make sense and have continuity, and I want the characters to be true to themselves as to what the character is. And so, like I said earlier, at the beginning, when I first, was covering the opening of the show, it's like as if, like, Batman and the Joker were, like, having tea together. That's not happening. Like, they're not down, Batman and the Joker. It doesn't make any sense to have Dean Ambrose be like, yeah, I'm friends with the cops, and they let me borrow their paddy wagon. We're all chummy. It's like, dog, the cops is, like, the authority. So, and if he's against the authority, which is Triple H and Stephanie, the authority, and then, like, Seth Rollins is down with the authority, how come Seth Rollins is the one that's doing dirty stuff, and then Dean Ambrose is the one who's down with the authority? Because they got it all screwy, because it's like, who's the face, who's the heel, the heels is the faces, and the faces are heels, and everything's all twisted around. It's like Bizarro World, because they don't understand the audience, apparently. Look, they don't know how to, like, put Dean, it's because you can't have a character like Dean Ambrose and then try to act like as if it's PG. And if you're going to have that character, he's either going to come out, he's going to be weak. That's even, I was listening to Sam Roberts' podcast, and he was saying it's like a poor man's Stone Cold. And I was kind of like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Dean Ambrose is awesome. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And then this show opens up, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, this guy didn't know what he was talking about. He was right. That freaking, even like, I mean, he hadn't even saw this, obviously, at that point. He couldn't have, because he said that right after, and it was like how he put it up and everything before SmackDown happened and all that. Even though it's like bang right there, back to back, like Raw happened and then the next day they taped SmackDown. But yeah, the freaking, that whole thing just didn't make sense. It's like, just don't do the character, just don't do that story. If you're gonna come out with an explanation for it that contradicts the whole entire character, and then just leaves everybody like, well, huh? Like, as if I'm supposed to then just dumb myself down and just be like, let's just overlook that, because, I understand that, like, it's a publicly traded company and they can't have, like, a major, like, baby face actually be, like, fighting the cops and shit. And it's like, Doug, not like as if I expect that, but if the character is what the character is, he should be true to the character. Don't do that storyline then. Don't involve that, because that's the natural progression of it. And then to go against it contradicts the character. Or just have the character be the character and let the fans decide, let the crowd decide if he's good or bad. But ultimately, if the people cheer, then he's a face. If the people boo, then he's a heel. That's kind of how it goes. I mean, you look at New Day, they act actually like baby faces from the 80s somewhat, except that they start having them doing all the cheating stuff because of the crowd's reaction to them. But ultimately, at their core is like a baby face even from the 50s almost, the way they are. But then because of the crowd reaction, now you have to force them to do heel things because the crowd reaction to them is negative. And they're treating them like heels. But then you have a guy who is a heel, the way his character acts traditionally in Dean Ambrose, but the crowd likes him because we like anti-heroes. They've been big since the 80s even. At the same time, you had Hulk Hogan and the prayers and the vitamins and all that stuff was going on. If you look at like comic books coming out at that time, that was like the birth of the anti-hero on the underground in the comic books. That's when the Dark Knight was actually originally written by Frank Miller, was back then. That's when the Punisher was kicking ass. And you had even like Ghost Rider and different stuff like that, and then it went into the 90s, and even with all this stuff coming out in films, actually started copying comic books and those things that like Frank Miller and other people were doing in comics, and then he eventually had Sin City, and then they eventually made that into a movie and all that stuff. And anyway, anti-heroes progressively over the time, got into society and into pulp culture and became mainstream, into where we're in that society now, post anti-hero society, where anti-heroes are accepted. And so then they just don't know how to handle that in like this PG era. But the PG era is over, man. Stop hanging on to the PG era and then just making everything crap. Or just go full-on PG and don't even tease us with half-assed attitude. Give it all or nothing. Don't go, you know what I mean? And with this, at that point, like, and there is a balance. You can have a balance. You can have some PG. You can have some attitude. I feel that you could have it all if you just manage it right. And as long as you have the characters be, you know, true to themselves and have continuity, that's all. That's all it is. Just have the characters make sense. I mean, is that too much to ask? I guess so. Like, we're not stupid. Just because we're wrestling fans doesn't mean we're dumb. And I shouldn't have to act stupid to watch it. I shouldn't have to be like, I'll just ignore that thing that didn't make any sense and totally contradicted everything. Why should I have to ignore parts of the story that don't make sense and go against the story just to try to, like, lie to myself to make it make sense? That's freaking stupid. Anyway, it ended up good, though, because now, you know, Seth Rollins beat up that fake poser. Now I could just root Seth Rollins. I already like Seth. He's awesome. Yeah, you know, whatever. The way he acts and all that crap. He acts like a heel and stuff, right? But really, Seth is the man. He's nasty on the mic. He's nasty in the ring. He's very talented. And his character is true to himself. Seth don't contradict himself with his character. Everything he does makes sense. And so I can get behind a guy who makes sense. I can't get behind a guy who don't make sense. Even if I had high hopes for him and I thought he was awesome, until they showed that really he's just a freaking, like, I don't know, he's a carbon copy. He ain't the real deal. But that's what I think anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions regarding the tag team match between Seth Rollins and Kane versus Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, and regarding the whole SmackDown event, as it were, and the whole ruining of Dean Ambrose's character. It's a sad, sad day for Dean Ambrose fans. I was a Dean Ambrose fan before this show started, and now I cannot. The mic cut off right there. The program I use does that to me all the time. It's always cutting me off. I have to, like, let the thing record for like 5 minutes after, just so it doesn't cut off the end of what I'm saying. Maybe a little exaggeration, but sometimes I actually let it go for 5 minutes just to make sure that what I said doesn't get chopped off the end. For some reason, when you stop recording, it has this weird lag that just chops me off. I went on, I don't even know how long I kept going on about all that. I think I was just in the middle of saying, like, now I cannot stand Dean Ambrose, and he makes me puke a little bit in my mouth when he comes on television, even though I just, you know, had the whole, like, 180 turn on SmackDown in this watching, you know what I mean? So it's not like I've had time to sit with it, and who knows how I'll feel tomorrow. I don't really see myself turning back around. Like, this, it's the kind of thing where once it happens, it's like the cat's out the bag. Once a guy is, like, when he loses credibility, it's pretty tough for me to then believe in somebody whose credibility just flew out the window. But anyway, that's enough about that. Overall, though, like I was just saying, even before I got cut off by the friggin' program that always cuts me off, I guess it's like, hey man, shut up. Shut up. You went on for, like, way too long. Just shut up about Dean Ambrose already. Anyway, like, the program is saying that to me, I guess. Like, chopping me off right there. So, yeah, I did like seeing Seth Pedigree and everything, and I am looking forward to Elimination Chamber regardless, even though I was looking forward to it a little bit more because I was, before SmackDown happened, wanting to see Ambrose take the title. But now I'm actually looking for Rollins to keep the title is what I'm rooting for. But even regardless, it's like an amazing card, top to bottom. Every match is going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome, spectacular, historical, as we have the first ever tag team Elimination Chamber match. That's going to be epic. Plus the much anticipated, although not very, long in the hype on television, but Kevin Steen versus John Cena. Obviously Kevin Owens now, but formerly known as Kevin Steen, along with some other cool matches as well. The IC match for the belt in the Elimination Chamber. That's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see that. Plus the triple threat for the Divas title. That's another match I'm really looking forward to. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Plus, yeah, Neville and Bo Dallas. Man, they really tore it up in NXT. And I'm hoping that they're going to deliver a nice match at Elimination Chamber. I believe they definitely can, given the opportunity and given the time. They're two amazing up-and-coming talents that have been around the scene for a long time, especially Pac, as he was doing this thing, over in England and in Japan for about a decade before coming over to NXT and then coming up to the main roster. And, of course, Bo Dallas, he's been in wrestling his entire life since he was in diapers. He knows his way around the ring quite well. Of course, there are rumors surrounding what's going to happen in that match, so maybe it ends up going quicker than you might think, and it might not end up being a big epic match and just being like a quick thing where, I don't want to spoil it, but the rumors are that the Wyatts are going to come down. I already had talked about that I thought Bo Dallas was down with his bro, Bray Wyatt, anyway, but apparently that's going to be what happens in Elimination Chamber. That's the rumor. I don't know. Don't, quote me on that one. It's just what I'm hearing through the grapevine from a few different sources, so... but they're not always that, you hear things, and even sometimes when you hear from different places, doesn't necessarily mean that that's how it's going to go, but we'll find out at Elimination Chamber. Either way, it's going to be epic, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait to watch it on the WWE Network. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It is appreciated.